Which reminds me of one of the observations that some folks had about how horribly things could go wrong, and they were wondering, how in the heck did that come about? Because you're not here, we have to roll dice for you. We can set it up where Christiane or somebody else rolls. But somebody has to roll for you. And
or you could roll for yourself and tell us what the roll is, but you have to have the dice to do that.
Yeah, if you have the dice, then you could roll and tell us.
Which is why I want to put together a dungeon generator, so that you'll have dice, you'll have characters, and you'll have the layouts. But anyway, you were saying.
Well, as DMs, we have I don't know if it's sacred, but we certainly have an obligation to the dice. If we're asking a question and the dice roll up with a 20, that means it's a very favorable response. So if a thief says, "I listen at the door," and you roll a 20, by God, that thief is going to hear what's happening in every detail on the other side of the room.
So you might say something like, the thief hears.
Oh, the thief hears the scratching of, little feet running around on the other side of the door.
And a coughing sound, and a hissing sound as if it might be some sort of gas escaping.
And since it's a 20, then you go further and throw in that he can, in fact, smell a noxious fume coming from underneath the door. But if a 1 is rolled, and the thief is listening at the door and there's a 1,
he doesn't hear anything.
Not only doesn't he hear anything, it's because he's partially deafened by some occurrence, and it's going to last for
X number of minutes. Yeah.
Or in the case of throwing, trying to preserve the fire, well, if we'd rolled like a 10 or a 12 or even a 3 on preserve the fire, it would have been your attempts to use your pouch to hold an ember failed. But we rolled a 1. So
not only did it fail, but you got hurt.
And I know that it's unreasonable to take off all your clothes and throw them on the fire to preserve it. However, when you roll a 1, the DM is in the position of coming up with some catastrophic result. And catastrophic results require that you stretch how the whole thing transpired. So, all by way of saying, when extremely odd things happen, more often than not, it's the DM trying to account for the fact that the dice have just indicated that something either wonderful or horrible happened. It's not that we presume that a reasonable individual would take off all their clothes unless they had some bizarre exhibitionist tendencies to preserve fire.
Speaking of which, I took this from Ash's Guide, RPG Person.